God bless everybody. Welcome back. It's hashtag Christian Straight Talk as we dive straight in with our good brother today. We got Simon, and Simon's always with us because I'm always with him and he's always with me. We joined at the hip, but we got our lovely brother as well from Mayor's ministry today. We got Reverend Brian Greenaway, and I like using that name because it sounds really posh. Reverend Brian Greenaway. It's good to have him back.
Yeah, welcome, Brian.
Good to be with you. Really.
It's so good to see you, Brian. So much going on, and Simon's got a lot of stuff. I've got a lot of stuff buzzing around in our heads, and you know, lots of updates. So, Brian, where do we start? What is today? We understand that a certain fellow in London the other day punched a button for a certain set of lights to go on within London, wasn't it? You know, the lights went on, and Ramadan.
Oh, was that for Ramadan? Yes.
Yes.
Of course, yes.
Christmas and Easter isn't getting lifted up through Christianity, but
no,
you know, it's very, very important, isn't it, when you look at the stuff that's going on around the world. And we mentioned it just off air just a moment ago. What's going on, and we're gonna bring that up. What is Ramadan? Why is it important to all what's going on and everything that's going on? So there's loads of stuff to talk about, Brian. So I'm going to hand it over.
Bring us the truth, Brian.
Bring it, Brian.
Let's cut through the nonsense.
Yeah, so yes, is Ramadan started on Sunday evening, goes through to the 9th of April. That's 1 month, considered a holy month by Muslims. 1.8 million Muslims will take it very, very seriously, and many others will do something as well. For many, it's just a festival.
Yeah.
Like Christians celebrate Christmas in a certain way. They'd get family together. But it can, in certain areas of Islam, it becomes a radical thing. It becomes a time. And, of course, what's happened with this Ramadan is, in particular, the terrorist organisations across the Middle East have said that Muslims, it's their duty to go up to the Temple Mount and to confront Israel.
Wow.
So which is why Israel have had to take extra special precautions and limit the number of people going, because that will happen, as we know.
It does, and it seems to me that as if this British government is really pushing it this time, Ramadan, it seems to have literally gone up in lights itself, doesn't it? It seems to be very highlighted to me what's going on and how they're really pushing that. Easter, will there be any lights on for Easter? No. You know, even Christmas is getting pushed around, but we got this.
Well, they've come out, I think, in the budget or whatever, and in the UK, and they've allotted £117 million for the security of mosques and Islamic schools.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
And they give the Jewish community, I think, 70 million. So there is a difference there, isn't it? Small amount of difference there, isn't it, Brian?
Goodness gracious. And Brian, also marches were going on again, wasn't it, the weekend?
Yes, there was this controversial arrest of an Iranian chap who stood up with a poster saying Hamas are terrorists and was arrested by, I think, 6 police officers.
I see that.
Several others standing around. He was unarrested, or de-arrested. Directly afterwards, because he didn't cause any violence. He just held up a banner. But it's you know, a lot of people are upset by that because he just said hold up a banner. That's all he did. And poor chapman, he was very upset, obviously, by being arrested. There was a counter protest. That was why, wasn't it? There was a counter protest. People are getting fed up with these people marching around, giving messages of hate, despite what certain ex-singers and celebrities may say. You know, from the river to the sea is about the destruction of the Jewish people. It's an anti-Semitic trope.
It really is, isn't it, Brian? Yeah. Even we got it in government, we got it on the streets of London, we got it in schools, we got it in towns. We've never been in such a situation in the UK as we see now. The marches on the streets.
We hear this word. There's one word that's been is bandied about and thrown at the Israelis is genocide. You hear that a lot, don't we?
We do, Brian? Yeah, I know.
And it seems to be a word that the media have got hold of, and they've thrown it around but really, when you look at it, it's a word that's been used against the Jewish nation.
Which is, you know, I think I saw some research that said that if Hitler's plans are continued for at least another 6 months, that all the Jewish people in Europe would have been destroyed.
Just 6 months?
To the point of no recovery. That's genocide. It's when you decide to choose one group of people and destroy them all.
Erase completely.
To old person. Now, if Israel are doing genocide in Gaza, they're doing such a bad job.
It's a terrible job. They're doing a bad job, aren't they?
They are,
because they haven't made no progress.
They haven't made any progress. You know, the statistics we get from Hamas talk about 31 to 33,000 people. We know that Israel has killed 13,000 terrorists, which everybody's grateful for. But
Yeah.
there's no way those statistics can ever be backed up. You know, UNRWA, who have been discredited, even though they still listen to them, other people that are working with Hamas, largely in the Strip, and these statistics have not been verified at all.
But we're dealing with a terrorist organisation, Brian, which are so propaganda-filled that, you know, the sad thing is that some of the mainstream media will latch on to the nonsense that they're coming out with, won't they? There's no good reports coming out, and Israel have done some amazing stuff in there, haven't they?
Yeah. I mean, there's been 15,200 relief trucks so far have gone into Gaza.
15,000 relief trucks.
Can you tell us, Brian, what's happening in Rafah?
I watched a video the other day, actually, by an Arab journalist. He was interviewing lots of people in Rafah, particularly children. And yes, wow, it's difficult. They're in the middle of a war zone. Massive refugee camps, people living in tents. Food is very expensive. One reason is that Hamas steals a lot of it and puts it on the black market. So, for example, you know, where they, you know, the big tubs of olive oil or cooking oil, that sort of thing, which would have been like 17 to 20 shekels before, is now 150 shekels. So everything has gone up in price dramatically.
Goodness gracious, mate.
But they were asking some of the children, some of the people, what they were like. And there was actually nice pictures of people selling shawarma, which is lovely, and making donuts, all sort of stuff. So, you know, life is going on in a very pressurised situation. And the problem is deep inside Rafah is a Hamas network, the last 4 battalions of Hamas sitting there under the people, emerging to run their black market stuff, selling stuff to people, still bullying people. A number of Palestinians that are, if they're brave enough, are saying Hamas has caused this problem, and they have, of course. And one chap was saying, he said, well, look, what's happened is, he said, our government, this isn't a Palestinian Arab talking, have started a war. They shouldn't have started the war, and so we are suffering.
Yes, correct.
And we deserve. He said, you know, not we deserve it. He said, we have lost. We have lost the war, and this is what happened to people who lose wars. There's shortages of food. There's refugee camps. He said they shouldn't have started the war, but now, you know, it'll be over one day as soon as Hamas are gone.
So when we look at the word Hamas, we got biblical references, haven't we?
Yes, yeah.
So
it's violence, really.
It just basically transfers to violence, doesn't it?
It does.
This is nothing new under the sun.
No.
We're watching it, we've seen it for so long, but I suppose with the media and technology, everything is just highlighted everywhere. You got some facts and some figures, haven't you, Brian, about all that sort of stuff. So is Hamas, because we don't see this on the mainstream news, are they actually being wiped out? Are they on the back foot?
Even if Israel do take Rafah and destroy Hamas will still exist because they're still in the West Bank. In the West Bank. And even this week, Israel destroyed a Hamas cell in Lebanon.
Right.
And of course, their leaders, the people that are sitting in comfort in Qatar, who are millionaires, will still continue to send people to their deaths.
So they'll always be around to a degree.
Well, as long as countries help them. Like
and fund them.
And Iran.
And hide them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there'll always be that element. Yeah.
Do you find, Brian, because I watch a number of not media outlets, but I guess YouTubers, and increasingly, you know, Hamas has been labelled as freedom fighters. Do you find that? Do you see that, Brian?
Is rape freedom?
No way.
Raping women continually, using that term. One of the UNRWA workers, they had a recording of him who was one of the UNRWA workers who invaded Israel on the October the 9th. And he said on a phone call, I've got one, and he used an Arabic word which means sex slaves. I've captured a woman, he says. I've captured a sex slave. That was what, this is a UNRWA worker who is a Hamas member. And if that's freedom fighting, I don't know what is. You know, it's
absolutely disgusting.
But some of the media love to latch onto this thing, don't they? Yeah.
Dangerous, isn't it? Words are very dangerous, and the way they portray it and the way they use it and the manipulation of words. The devil is very clever the way that he manipulates words, the father of lies. So it's lies, and then the lies get just smoothed over, and then people latch on to that. So the facts and figures are really critical, aren't they? What's actually happening.
Yeah, I mean, we see in Gaza now, the latest figures I got before we left is, I think I mentioned earlier, 15,200 relief trucks have gone into Gaza now. There's been 11,500 rockets fired from Gaza. It's not every day anymore, but there are still some rockets coming in from the south, fired from Rafah, of course, the last stronghold of Hamas. 13,000 terrorists have been killed by the IDF, and the IDF have attacked 33,000 targets. That's the sort of Gaza figures. Of course, as we know, there's these airdrops coming in. There was a boat that came from Cyprus with supplies, checked by the Israeli government to make sure there's no weapons in it. That came through from different countries. I think about 12 different countries have been... No, there's been 12 drops, sorry. A number of countries have been involved in taking aid. Jordan, ourselves, of course. Sadly, it was one of our pallets that killed some Palestinians the other day when they airdropped them in. America, of course. So there's, there's aid going in from all different areas.
But I suppose that goes with the drumbeat, doesn't it? Like everything. Innocent people are getting taken out, even by the supplier of good help. People are, accidents happen, things happen. So we see, don't we, across the news? All them tons of food just being dropped out of aircraft and that. So where are they trying to land that? What part are they trying to get that to?
Well, they're trying to get as near, obviously, to the people as possible.
Yeah.
And also an area that's not too populated because
of that reason.
Because of people, etc. So it's different areas. We've seen on the news they're different, trying to choose areas where it's near some of the refugee camps in Gaza.
Basic supplies, I assume.
Basic supplies, food, medicine, that sort of thing.
Absolutely amazing.
Do you think, Brian, that this attack by Hamas, do you think it's backfired? Do you think they expected more support? Do you think they expected, total support from the terrorist organisations? And do you think because they kind of shot themselves in the foot really because they're being totally destroyed?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I mean, but there's a couple of aspects of that. Firstly, they was expecting Hezbollah to do more in the north, and the Houthis, of course, firing their missiles. They were probably on the ground level thinking that maybe Iran would do more. They would mobilise the Islamic Revolutionary Guard and things like that. They're hoping for that. But I think Iran are playing it. They're using Hamas as a blunt instrument, and they can't see it. So, within Islam, radical Islam, there's the idea of the shaheed, which is the martyr. So they want to die. It's a death cult. That's what Islam is. It is a death cult. So people are glad to die for it, for the cause, because they get rewards. If you really believe in your heart that if you die fighting in this holy war and you get rewards for it, then you're going to give your life for it.
And what do they actually believe the rewards are?
Well, there's a number, isn't there? There's that if you talk about the 70 virgins, that's one thing we're talking about. But it's it's rewards. It's like eternal rewards. As Christians that are listening would say that if they live a sacrificial life for God, it talks about well done, good and faithful servant, etc. That's a Christian doctrine and biblical doctrine.
Yeah.
And Islamic doctrine is this: if you die in the service of Allah, if you kill people in that process, then you will get rewards for it. If you believe that, then
that's in their doctrine, I suppose. But in practical terms, they're promised their families will be looked after by finance. So in practical terms, their organisation will give the family a lump of money.
They do that, It happens in the West Bank area where if terrorists die, then the Palestinian Authority give them money. But Israel have taken different aspects of that. They've tried to stop the money, which hasn't been very, the UN send it, most of it, and the EU. But they knock down people's houses. That's what the Israelis do. If they find out a terrorist house, they'll knock it down.
They'll knock it down. So we mentioned three groups, Hamas, the Houthis, and Hezbollah. Are they all supposed to be interwoven?
Yeah, certain overlap. They sometimes fight each other. So a couple of years back, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, interestingly, who were more near their stronghold more near the Gaza border, and they fired some rockets at Israel.
Okay.
But there was an understanding, I don't know how this works, that Hamas said, it's not us. So Israel left Hamas alone. That was a couple of years back, so they just hit back at PIJ. Now, a more recent thing was that when this happened again, Israel said, now hang on a minute, you're the elected government, you should be sorting this out, you're responsible for the rockets being fired. There's Palestinian Islamic Jihad, there's Hamas, there's Hezbollah, there's elements of ISIS still there, the Al-Qassam brigades who fought against the allies right across the Middle East when the Caliphate rose up, ISIS rose up. There's those guys as well. The Houthis, of course, and I did mention Hezbollah. Yeah, so they're all these, all, of course, all funded and controlled by Iran, all Iranian proxies.
Right, Iran. I was going to ask a question about that, but you're answering that. So when we talk about the government, the government that actually funds these three terrorist groups, does it sit in the lap of Iran more than anybody else?
And while President Trump was there, he put a complete stranglehold on any money going to Iran and stopped their oil being exported.
He did, yeah.
But Biden has lifted that. Biden and Blinken have lifted that, and they froze. I think it was $6 billion, and they promised to give it that back as well. So,
so America was doing good.
It was doing great under Trump. He was
taking out that by trade deals.
Stranglehold on Iran.
Our little friend, the nursing home man, comes along,
and it's all reversed.
And it's all reversed.
And the floodgates have opened, and now they've got so much money because selling their oil. Because they're oil-rich country, they're able to fund these terrorist organisations.
So it comes down to a lot to do with finances and what America could lose through oil. It's so political, isn't it? It's
you can't get away from it. It is spiritual. We know that, don't we? We know that, Brian.
Firstly, it's spiritual.
And people, the Western people, do not understand the mentality of the Middle East. You know, we live in our Western countries and we think we know it, but we don't understand the way people think, you know. So we think that if we appease people, if we say to them, look, you know, we'll give you this, can you stop doing this? Like intelligence services in the Middle East have recently reported today that the Americans have been meeting with the Iranians authorities to try and stop the Houthis. So I'm thinking, well, okay, if there's some negotiation going on, what are they offering them? That's the thing. That what
money?
They must be offering something to Iran. So
it has to be.
What can you give them apart from money and more power? They should be shutting down on them. Rather than taking out the Iranian boats that provide the intelligence for the rockets to be fired at ships from all over the world, not just military. People buy things. They want them to be shipped to the UK. They get hit. The ship gets hit in the Red Sea. So, you know, they're attacking everybody. You know, one thing that would be easy to do was for the Americans, or the Allies, to take out the 2 Iranian ships that are providing intelligence to the Houthis. But they don't. Instead, they try and sit down at the table with the enemy, who are going to lie to you. They're not going to be honest in their dealings.
No.
Well,
they've not learnt the lesson.
There's the Iranians, as I said, Trump put a stranglehold on them, but Obama thought a strong Iran would make a more peaceful Middle East, didn't he? So
trying to get a balance,
he's trying to get a balance. So he was supporting Iran because, and then this Biden's term is really Obama's 3rd term. So he's just carrying on in that, whereas Trump had it locked down completely. And who knows if Trump gets in again? I think the whole thing will be locked down again. But who knows what will happen in November in the States? But you know, you've certainly got a large amount of anti-Semitic movement within the American and British really governments
establishments.
Establishments.
While you're talking about establishments, can I just ask a couple of really easy questions, but just to clarify? So we know who's in charge of Israel politically. So when we look at Palestine itself, who actually runs that? So when we talk about government, is that Hamas hit? How does it work, Brian?
Yeah, sure. So in the 2 areas, aren't there? So there is Judea and Samaria, which is also known as the West Bank.
Yeah.
So that's the area that is, for those who don't know geography, it's right next to Jordan. That area that runs along the Jordan Valley. So they have an elected government called the Palestinian Authority, or Fatah. That's what they're called. And their leader is Mohammed Abbas, who is old, very old now. He hasn't had an election for a number of years although he's supposed to have done, so it's not democratic government anymore, although he wasn't elected in. He's recently indicated that his finance minister will be the one to take over. That's just in recent days. So we'll have to see, because the thing about Fatah is they are more moderate, okay? They allow lots of bad things to happen, but really they're much more, they talk to Israel, they want a quieter life. But Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, are working in the West Bank as well.
Right.
The reason he hasn't had an election is because he thinks that he'll get out of power. You know, he thinks that Hamas will be voted in the West Bank. So that's a real tinderbox, and they often fight each other. That's the other thing. They fight each other.
Within themselves.
Within themselves, as often as that. There's no unity between those different groups. There were some ISIS cells, but Israel have dealt quite well with the ISIS cells and managed to take them out, more extreme guys. So they're the government there. And that is the government that possibly might be the one is suggested, once Hamas have gone, to take over in Gaza. Because in 2006 there was an election in Gaza after Israel withdrew all their people, dragged them out, forced them to leave, left all their homes, their kibbutzim, their farms. And then the Gaza Strip was identified as this area. They had an election. Hamas's political wing was elected. In 2007, Hamas killed all of their opposition. So they killed Fatah, Palestinian Authority, the representatives of that government that runs the West Bank.
Just took them out.
And they killed lots of other people as well. And effectively took over as a dictatorship, and they've been the government ever since.
This is like... right, bit of a dodgy area to talk about. So when we see certain people walking the streets of London with these flags up, do we actually know, or do they actually know, the real fundamental truths?
No,
because when you look and you listen to it like this,
they don't.
It's almost just jumping onto a flag. Any flag will do just for a protest at the moment. So when you listen to the depth and the core of everything,
they don't know. Sorry, Brian, but these people do not know.
They can't
jumping onto the anti-Israel, anti-Semitic. They're just jumping onto that banner.
So when you just talk about what you're talking about, that the terrorists went in and took out that government, and then you've got people on the streets of London walking for them, so they're actually walking for terrorist governments.
They're cheering for the Houthis.
They're cheering for the Houthis. So when you really look at this stuff going on, and then you've got the British establishment just watching all this stuff, and we spoke about that man that got arrested, de-arrested, all that sort of stuff. I actually don't think that the majority of these people that walk on these marches actually know the full fundamental depth of the truth, because I don't believe these human beings that carry these flags and jump up and down would actually do that if they really would do their homework, because the news channels that we know just skirt around the fluff, don't they? But when you hear the actual core of everything that's going on. Now, I had a really obscured letter the other day come through from local church stuff and all that. Brian, can we clear something up? Was Jesus a Palestinian?
Most definitely not.
Hallelujah. Well, I have got a letter from certain churches that is saying, and I nearly forwarded it to you, but I got caught up, that Jesus, and I'm thinking, if this is the church within the UK, and there's some people that we all know that have signed this letter, and I'm thinking, they were asking me to support it, and I was quite graceful for once in my life. I didn't respond to anything. I just let it go. But I thought, if the church is actually bringing a letter to send to Parliament regarding this, I'm thinking, no wonder we're a mess. If the church doesn't know where Jesus was actually, the scripture tells us, doesn't it? So we all know around this table that Jesus... And even Palestine wasn't. Was it even?
It wasn't. No,
it wasn't there, was it?
I was horrified the other day to be sent, like you, Ben, something in the post. It was this World Day of Prayer something. It was abhorrent, absolutely abhorrent lies.
Yeah,
it was. It's a Women's Day of Prayer, 1st of March, for Palestinian women.
Yes,
we need to pray for Palestinian women. But when I looked inside, I was so incensed at the anti-Semitic. Rubbish in there, and the lack of knowledge of history. So, for example, they quote Herodotus, and they say he talks of Palestine in 500 BC. Well, he doesn't actually.
No.
If they read their proper classical Greek text, which they obviously have no knowledge of, then it says he refers to the people of the Philistines on the coast, which we know.
Yes,
because the Bible tells us about the Philistines on the coast. They always were. Who did David defeat? the Philistine champion, Gath.
Gath.
So it's Goliath, sorry. And so of Gath. So it was completely full of wrong history, and it had things like in it that Israel had expelled 750,000 refugees during the 48 Independence War, which is a complete and utter fabrication. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
So the word Palestine comes from the Romans.
Yes.
And so after the Romans, after 3 or 4 revolts by the Jewish people against the Romans, they just had enough. So in 135, they completely destroyed the temple. They ploughed it up. They destroyed everything. And they said to the Jews, you can't live in Jerusalem anymore. Horrific, where the temple was. So they expelled them. And they renamed the region. They named the region Syria Palestina. And the reason they chose that was because Syria was the dominant area.
Yeah.
And the Philistines were the deadly enemies of the Jewish people. And everybody 2,000 years ago knew that because they knew their recent history.
Yeah.
And so they named it after their deadly enemies. And that's where the name comes from. But it's never actually there's never been a Palestinian
There's
king.
There's
never been a Palestinian emperor or government or finances. There's never been established as a country. And sadly, in recent history, so if you look at Christian textbooks, commentaries, of 100 years ago, they sadly use the word Palestine there. Now, it's just a protectorate name that was used for that area.
Yeah.
And the first Palestinians were Jews. So before 48, you had a newspaper called the Palestine Post, which was established by Jewish people. And you had... and people I know who were alive at that time said, we were called the Palestinians. Then, when it came into the 60s and 70s, we were Israelis. Now Israel is a country. We call ourselves Israelis. And so Yasser Arafat picks up this word Palestine and he says, we are the Palestinians. They never called themselves Palestinians before 48, before the late middle 70s.
So doesn't it show you, with the marching on the streets, how biblically illiterate the majority of the church in the UK is? Because if you was to look at the names that are on the bottom of that letter, bishops, this, that, everybody, and you're thinking, I can't believe. As soon as I started reading it, I thought, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
And when you went and they blatantly said that Jesus is a Palestinian.
Absolute rubbish.
Well, he was from the line of Judah, wasn't he?
I know.
Just
Exactly.
quite simple.
Israel.
It's just quite simple. He was
Born in Judah. Was it Bethlehem? What was the actual pinpoint of that?
Bethlehem, very quite near Jerusalem.
Right near. Yeah.
He was Jewish.
He was
Jewish.
Yeah, Israel.
And he was from
King
the
of the
chosen race. Then that's what it was all about.
And
what was on the cross? That's the centre of our faith.
King of the Jews.
Yeah.
King
The cross is
of
centre
the
our-
Jews.
Here is Jesus, King of
He
the
was
Jews.
the lion of the tribe of Judah.
That's right. And when you look at that, what Brian's saying as well, the geographics, it wasn't even in existence, was it? At that point.
There's never been anywhere called.
No. So when you look at Christ on the cross, the Lion of Judah, the King of the Jews, and the church is writing letters and getting pastors and all that trying to sign this stuff, and you're thinking, no wonder the church in the UK is in such a mess. It doesn't know the fundamental biblical truth. And these people...
know who he is. No, doesn't know his identity.
They don't know him.
And you think about
followers
that.
of Christ, and they don't know who he is.
And it comes down to this. You both said it. They don't know who Jesus really is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So everything that's breaking out on the streets, everything that's going on...
This is just religion, This is what we're talking about.
But I can't believe that these intelligent... but we know knowledge puffs up and all that, but...
Well, their eyes have been blinded, haven't they? That's to the knowledge of the truth. That's blatantly obvious, isn't it? And as you quite rightly said in your opening statement, they're biblically illiterate.
That's right.
They
It's very scary.
know their Bible.
It is, yeah.
And they are supporting, I've got to be careful how I say all this, they are supporting certain things that are happening the weekend, and you're thinking, it's going against...
It creates anti-Semitism.
And that's exactly what this does. And they're so blinded. The enemy is so clever, how he blinds the eyes, and we need to pray like never before.
Like never before. Brian, you must, like you just said, you must be taken aback sometimes and think to yourself, hold on a minute. Was it the Israelis that actually attacked Hamas? No, hold on a minute. What really went on there? And suddenly, with I said to my wife, I said, within 2 weeks you'll see the rhetoric change, but it's continued to change, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's
Amongst all the evidence, amongst all the horrific evidence that we've got that have come out of that attack.
I don't.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't have the complete facts and figures in front of me, but I noticed that the UK government have hardly sent any funds directly to Israel itself. As we said before, every time they talk about, they won't actually pinpoint, and they won't have a real strong discussion on Israel. It's always the Gaza Strip. It's always humanitarian aid. But when they talk about Ukraine, he's so adamant of the money, the vast billions of pounds that is firing over that way. But then when it just shows you, doesn't it, like where this government actually sits, that what are you funding, what are you supporting? It's not really supporting Israel. It might have dropped a few baskets of bread out the sky with the Americans and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, this government clearly does not support Israel.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I mean, it's done better than a lot of other countries, it's true. but you know, so there's hundreds of thousands of refugees in Israel. So Kiryat Shimona, which is a city in the north, has 22,000 people. They were evacuated on the 7th of October and they haven't been back.
They haven't been back?
No, haven't been back at all. They're living in central Israel and they can't go to school, a lot of the kids, they can't have normal lives. They're just living in hotel accommodation the government's had to pay for. So, and that's just one city, 22,000. But there are hundreds of thousands of refugees. Through Mars, we're helping them. We've helped provide schooling, paying for a school, temporary school in a hotel, building a school as well for them. People have not mentioned the refugees, the tens and tens of thousands of Israeli refugees.
Brian, you got any encouraging news for us?
Yeah, the Lord's coming back.
Have we got, you know, where Mail's
been
has
deep.
got some really encouraging, you know, snippets or anything, you know?
Yeah, we have. It's really good to see Christians coming to Israel on what are called solidarity tours.
That's brilliant.
We're going to be holding a couple of those this year, possibly in June, and we're certainly in September, where Christians, and others actually, not only Christians, others are coming to Israel. And, they see some sites, but actually they're serving. They're helping to pick fruit, helping with the children, helping with all sorts of different projects. So we're doing a couple of those tours coming up. And it's just good that people are coming from the nations, flying into Israel at personal risk and personal cost. That's true, to actually stand with Israel and to help people in need.
I was going to ask you that.
So that's good.
Safety at this moment. So when the brothers and sisters and the people that are going in and helping hand, so it's real frontline ministry. It's mission work. It's real biblical stuff. Yeah. That must be really powerful to get involved in, mustn't it? When you think that you've got to pay for yourself to go and you've got to fund yourself out there. You're not going on a holiday. You're going into a war zone.
Yes,
like never before. But you'll be helping children. You'll be picking fruit. Yeah. What a great experience!
Well, I was talking to Shani Ferguson, is our chief creative director in Israel, and she was saying that they went down. They've come down several times, taken groups down to pick fruit. And she said, normally she said we do something like that. You're picking fruit, so she said I would normally have my headphones on, but she said this time I didn't. She said because you get the quiet and the sound of the nature, and in the background you hear the boom of war going on in the background. She said it's a strange feeling. Obviously there's a personal risk now, of course, because Hamas have been degraded, the risk of rocket fire is much less, but there is still that risk there. You've still got to listen out for the sirens. You've still got to think this might happen, and then there's a nervousness as well.
I was going to ask that.
About a lady who they were trying to convince to go back to her house in Sderot, which was invaded, basically burnt down the police station, everything on the 7th. A lot of people died there. Who was really nervous about going to a ground floor flat because on the 7th of October she was in her flat and the terrorists were outside going up and down the street.
Goodness gracious me.
And she survived, she got away, but she's an old lady, so she was really nervous about going back. So there's that nervousness, that air of what might happen next.
Your body's on high alert. It must be on high alert, mustn't it? You know that in the work that you've come from and all that, you're trying to continue daily life, but your senses are so switched on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because... you're looking at everybody, aren't you? You look at everybody. Who are these people? Any stranger, anybody like that. Because there's still, I guess, infiltrating. There's still, I guess, attacks inside.
There are some this week. So this week they intercepted a group trying to get through the security barrier heading for Tel Aviv. They had a primed bomb, and they had weapons with them as well. So they're still
They're
still going at it.
They ain't stopping. No.
Terrorists coming from the West Bank. Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
On alert there.
So what dates are you doing these tours, Brian?
So one in June, they're hoping. Now, we realise June is quite soon. If people have got loads of money sitting around, like you've been,
Thank you, Jesus. Well, yeah, you want to check your pockets.
If someone's got
you.
to go now, they can go in June. That's when. But we realise that most people will probably think, right, I need a bit more time to arrange leave to get the money. Yeah. So September is almost definitely going to be that time. So it will be like a week to 10 days.
So you've got a week to 10
stay
days.
In a hotel, yeah. You see some sites. Of course, we're going to take people to sites. They want to see it because they're there. But
hotel, no windows.
Your own
no roof. Body jacket on. But what an experience.
It is, yeah. It is a really good experience.
Yeah. That is a... Well, I hope and pray there'll be some Ealing pastors that will want to go out there and do that. But that is a place to go,
Mm-hmm.
Brian, what else we got? Time is literally ramping. We're flying along. So any other updates, anything else we should know from what's been going on before? Can I ask you a quick question about the Lion Gate? We mentioned this.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
What is the Lion Gate?
So around Jerusalem, there are many gates. We've got the Golden Gate, the Jaffa Gate, the Dung Gate, which is near the Western Wall. There are various gates. And this is to get into the old city, and particularly to get to the Western Wall area. And, of course, there is security. There would be the security all the time. And if you go to the Western Wall, you can't get to it, to the Temple Mount area, without going through security. So it's airport security. So you look in your bag, you go through a metal detector, etc. Generally, if you look like a tourist, then they're not interested in you. Just wave you through.
Go for it.
But they know what they're looking for. Now, the Lion Gate is the gate that's used from East Jerusalem, and it doesn't have security. But not as the way we would see security in the other gates, because there's an agreement with the Jordanian authorities, with Israel, to just let people freely come, Muslims freely come, and to go up to the Temple Mount. They can just go without any security. Now, there's been a number of incidents. I think it was 3 years ago, some Druze soldiers, they're Israeli citizens, were killed by terrorists. They were shot by terrorists. And so now and again, they have incidents. Now, what normally happens, particularly at Ramadan and other places on the Muslim prayers, they just flood from the East Jerusalem up onto the Temple Mount to pray. Now, in the past, what has happened is, because there's no security, troublemakers within that group, and it's not all of them that go to pray, there's not all of them, have taken rocks and Molotov cocktails and put them in the Al-Aqsa Mosque and stockpiled them there, and then used them to attack the Israelis and just cause general problems. The worry is that because it's on top of the Western Wall, as happened before, they've thrown them over the top of the Western Wall to people that are praying there. So the interesting thing about this situation is that Israel are responsible under the terms of the agreement for security on the Temple Mount. So what happens is the rioters go into the mosque, they take the rocks and the stones and the Molotov cocktails, and then people can't go and pray. Normal Muslims who just want to pray in there,
live their lives and pray.
So the Jordans say to Israel, they can't pray in the mosque. Can you sort that out? So the Israeli IDF policemen have to go into the mosque to get the people out. And of course, there's a riot with rocks and everything. And then the media says, Israel have attacked the mosque. Wow. No, they haven't. The Muslims have asked them to get these rioters out so they can go and pray.
Another twisted story.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
So they've had to implement security at the Lion Gate this time for Ramadan, and they're stopping men that are, only children and women over 50 and men over 55 can go. No young men are allowed to go.
That's interesting.
They just had to stop it.
You wouldn't be able to go.
I wouldn't be able to go, no.
I'd be able to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian would be okay.
But
I'll have to stay indoors.
Because there will be violence.
Wow.
It goes with the track.
So this all in the UK press and across the British media and probably world media that, you can't even go and pray anymore.
That's what they'll say.
You can't go and pray, when actually they don't know the depth and the core and the fundamental truth of what's really going in. Where they're condemning Israel, Israel have got that agreement to go and take care and look after the place of prayer.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So it's to stop the violence. It always has violence every year.
Yeah.
Ramadan and other times. And so because the terrorist organisation like Hamas have called for the Palestinians to storm the Temple Mount and confront the Israelis, I mean, that's what they're going to do. So they've had to stop it. That's preventive, isn't it? Any police force would take preventive measures if there was intelligence about possible violent acts.
Terrorists.
And that's what they've done.
And what's the normal sort of footfall they would expect to go all the way through to go to this?
Oh, there would be thousands. You know, it's said, I don't verified this, that you can get nearly 1 million people up on the Temple Mount, apparently. I mean, they'd all be standing side by side. It's quite a big area. I don't think there's ever been that many, but you can get tens of thousands up there.
So you're not talking about a few, just like...
No, it's a big area.
For policing that and looking after that, it must be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
It is,
It's an impossible situation, isn't it? So try and looking at certain people and saying, well, you're under that age, you can't go. It must be a horrific thing. So even the idea, they must be on high alert in their own senses, thinking that we are in such a vulnerable place that I am an IDF in the army. Now I am going up into a volatile. I can't bear the thought of what that must be like.
Must feel like, yeah.
Am I being drawn into this for other reasons?
Yeah, because you've only got one wrong move and you're all over the place, aren't you? All over the press. The press will be all over stuff. So one-sided in their reporting, Brian. Yeah. Just before we, I guess we're coming into land, Brian, I just want to encourage you because a good friend of mine who listens to our podcasts, he said, I love listening to Brian's podcast when he comes in because they're so informative. And I think we find that, and I think we find that, people are downloading the Mayor's Straight Talk podcast all over the world, Brian. So thank you for your time, really, and it is appreciated, and people do appreciate the word that you bring.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's lovely to be with you guys. It really is.
Yeah, Brian, one quick thing. Someone new might be listening. How can they get hold of Maoz? What's the process? Okay,
we have a website. It is Maoz Israel, MAOZ, maozisrael.uk or .org. We have two international website and UK website.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, very soon we'll have our website up and running with a link to
our friend. Yeah, there you go. Thank you so much for joining us, Brian and Simon and myself. We say have a great day wherever you are. Never give up. God is with every one of us, and God bless you. And thank you so much for the thousands of downloads in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. God bless. Take care.